Yo, what is up, everyone? Back again with another one of these. Told you I'm trying to stay accountable when it comes to these monthly check-ins. So today, February 28th, last day of February. Even though it's the shortest month of the year, this one also felt pretty long. Just when I look back on the stuff that I did and just that came out, when I look back, I'm like, dang, that was in February. Yeah, it was just a long month. A lot happened, honestly, just in terms of gaming news and life, gaming, movie, all that jazz. And so today, just kind of like last time, we're just gonna go over what happened in February. Stuff I've been playing, stuff that's been happening in the gaming world, things like that. And yeah, dude, let's just get this started. I had like a note thing pulled up. I made sure to just keep track of stuff that was interesting to me in the month of February. So first thing I really, at least just the way I have it ordered, is just in terms of news. I guess we can go ahead and just start with the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to gaming, especially if you're on the PlayStation side. PlayStation went down. PlayStation went down. It was on the, what do I have the date? On the 7th of February. And it was a wild, I think it was 18 hours is how, I think, if not 18, then it was like a solid 24 hours that it happened. And it was a wild time. Very wild. I came home, I remember coming home from work, getting my PlayStation Portal, bringing it downstairs, just like getting ready to go. And I was gaming for a good, once I saw that hour and a half. And then I'm like, oh, let me go get something to eat. So we went to go get some Dave's Hot Chicken, which is a new restaurant that opened in my area. Pretty good. I don't know if y'all ever had Dave's Hot Chicken or if y'all know what that is. So for those who don't, Dave's Hot Chicken is just a fried chicken place. I think the gimmick is their tenders are humongous. And so me and my dad, we decided to try it one Friday night, and it was okay. It wasn't like anything crazy. It was just very, I think it's like the Nashville hot chicken, I guess, is the closest comparison. It was just very, I don't want to say very, but it was sweet. And like I can, when food that's not traditionally sweet is like sweet, I can take it and like, I don't want to say like just small amounts. I can't eat like a large amount of food that's sweet, that's not supposed to be sweet. And so if I'm like in the area and I see Dave's Hot Chicken, I'll probably get it, but it's not something that I would probably go to and get. I think I'd have to be in the mood for it. But anyway, I'm getting off point. PSN went down. Like I came home, ate the food, and I got on Threads to like just check and see if there was any deals. I'm still followed to Wario64, always checking his page. And so they posted that, it was either him or IGN, one of the two. They posted that PSN was down. I'm like, oh, dang, that sucks. And I tried to get on my portal. Wouldn't let me get on because I couldn't sign in. I'm like, bruh, I can't even use the portal. And yeah, that was just very like tragic. And so then when I tried to get on my PS5, I couldn't play. What I was playing at the time was Eternal Strands, and I couldn't play it because I guess something in my settings, I didn't have it enabled so I could play them like digital games when they're offline. And so that kind of really put a stop to the plans, like, because I really, that weekend at least, I really wanted to finish Eternal Strands. And yeah, that just put a real dent in things. Like everything I had planned that weekend just went out the window. Couldn't do anything on my PlayStation. And so I remember like that Friday night, I was just like so kind of, I just wasn't in the mood anymore because my plans have been dashed. And so I just ended up watching some TV and then I went to bed before midnight, which at that time was like the first time I had done that in like a long time. Even like where I work, I'm usually going to bed around like 12:30, something like that. And so yeah, that was like the first time in a long time I went to bed before midnight. And then I woke up early that next morning to see if anything had happened, and it was still down. And so I'm just like, what can I do? And then it got me thinking, this is like the perfect time to hop on my 360 and play one of the Lego games I've been playing for this series. And so I think I haven't mentioned this before. I actually mentioned it in a post, but not in specific. So I ended up getting a 360 back in December because I was thinking about some games I would want to play in the future. And so like one of the bigger things I did last year was the Destroy All Humans series. And so I did there were the two games. I did both the PS2 and then the remakes, one for PS4, one for PS5. And so that was like the bigger series that I did. But one of the Destroy Humans games, I don't know if a lot of people know about it, just because I don't think a lot of people played that one, is Path of the Furon. And that was the only one that came out on the PS3 360 era. I think that's not the last one, because there's actually another one that came out on the Wii. I think it's called Big Willie's Revenge or something. But Path of the Furon, that came out on 360 and PS3, but the PS3 version, much like a lot of early PS3 games, doesn't even have a trophy list. And so, of course, when I was looking at playing the Destroy Humans games, I eventually came across Path of the Furon. And once I saw it was only on the 360, it's not even backwards compatible on the Series S and X and all that. And so once I saw it was only locked on the 360, I'm like, I'm probably not gonna end up playing it, because I don't want to go out and buy a 360 and just, do all that. But come December, I was just kind of thinking about other games, like the Lego series. There's one Lego game that I'm about to get into soon that's locked to the 360 as well. And then I was just kind of looking at other games I'd want to play. Like there's I know someone had recommended a Transformers game that has achievements on the 360. Some of the early MCU Phase 1 Marvel games have trophies on, or achievements on the 360. They don't have trophies on the PS3. And so the more I was thinking of games that are still locked on the 360, I'm like, I'll just get one. So pretty much long story short, I got a 360 in December, and I really didn't get around to playing anything on it until late January. And that I only have 2 games for it right now. But the game that I played mostly was Bionicle Heroes. And it's another Lego game. I don't think a lot of people know about. Like if you look up TT Lego games, there's probably only a couple of websites that mention Bionicle Heroes. I don't know if a lot of people really know about it. And so I became aware of this game. There was another channel I watched that really kind of inspired me to do these videos to begin with, the Lego videos, which was Cam Reviews. And he did his part 1, I think probably more than a year ago at this point. And that was my first time really seeing Bionicle Heroes for these consoles. I don't know. I have to look again, because I remember writing it down, but I don't think it has a PS3 version. I do think there's just one for the 360, the Wii, I think the GameCube, PS2, just those consoles. There's a DS version. That's actually the one I played, but this is my first time playing the I guess HD version, if you want to call it. And so end of January, I played. The way I was trying to do this Lego series, because again, like I said in the last video, if you watched them, I really want to get this out this year. And so I'm really trying to hammer down on the Lego games. And so ideally, a plan I had was to do 1 level a night or something, 1 or 2 levels a night. Because if you play the Lego game, the levels themselves aren't that long, but there is a lot of them depending on the game. The next one I'm going to play is Lego Harry Potter 1 through 4. And I don't know how that one's structured, but I would imagine it's the typical, each movie gets 6 levels or something. So in total, there'd be 24 levels. So if I were to take 2 missions a day or something, that would be 12 days. But when it comes to Bionicle Heroes, the levels of those games are a little longer. There are 6 worlds you have to go to. Each one has 4 levels. So there's 24 levels in the whole game. Well, 25 if you count the boss. But what I ended up doing was I played 2 levels in January. I played one night, one the other night. I didn't really touch it for a little bit. But when PSN was down, that Saturday, I took the opportunity, and I'm I'm gonna play this on my 360, since 360 works. I have I'm not gonna have any issues there. And I just hammered away at that game. I played pretty much the whole game that day. I finished 90% of that story. There's not really a story to the game, but just the story, just each of the levels, I pretty much played 90% of them that day. And then come Sunday, I only had maybe a handful left. The PSN was back up by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. But at that point, I was locked in. This is what I'm going to finish. And so I finished the story. There are 49 achievements in that game, and I had completed I think by the time I finished, I was at 41 out of 49 achievements. This is a really easy Lego game to power through, but to 100%, it does get a little tedious. I finished it was last Saturday, At that point, I only had maybe a couple of games left to play, so I just powered through that, finished it that Saturday, like Saturday evening. I started it maybe, if I had to guess, probably 10 in the morning. I didn't wrap it up till about 6. Yeah, there was probably like an hour or so where I like ate and stuff. But yeah, Lego Bionicle Heroes, that's another Lego game down. Right now, pretty much all like the early Lego games are finished, and so like the ones I have for that first video, at least I have planned right now: Lego Star Wars 2, Bionicle Heroes, the Complete Saga, Lego Indiana Jones, and Lego Batman. So we got 5 Lego games that I'm going to cover in that first video. Getting back into the news part of this all, there was a couple of showcases that went down this month. The first one was the Capcom showcase. I wasn't too excited about that. There really wasn't a lot of like marketing, I guess, around that. And plus the games they showed off, like I caught the trailers afterwards, but when I watched, they didn't really like seem too enticing to me personally. I think the most like the intriguing thing was the Street Fighter Capcom collection, the second version of that. They're releasing that sometime soon. That was really the main thing that caught my eye. Other than that, I think they just kind of hit home more on the Monster Hunter beta. They showed off a little more Onimusha, the new one coming out, but they didn't show like any gameplay or stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. But they didn't show any gameplay, just kind of talking more about the game. They did announce an Onimusha 2 remaster, which I'm gonna look into. I remember, this is so funny, when Astrobot, like when I was playing that, I finished, I made the video and everything. Once I released it, GameRanks had posted a video about, I think, just forgotten games or so. I don't remember exactly what the video was, but in one of them they talked about Onimusha, and that name stuck out to me because I remember when I was researching for the Astrobot video, I saw one of the bots was from Onimusha. And so I watched the video and they mentioned Onimusha, and it was talking about how that game was essentially Devil May Cry before Devil May Cry was really a thing. And when I heard that, I was kind of like pulled in because I like Devil May Cry games. And so I bought the first Onimusha remaster that came out on the PS4 version, I think a while back. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but now they announced Onimusha 2. Hopefully, I think there was a third one. Hopefully they announce a third one soon, and then just at some point I can do a video on like those games before the new Onimusha comes out. So that was the Capcom showcase, and then of course we get to the big boy, which is the State of Play. A lot of divisive feelings on this one, I gotta say. So when it comes to State of Plays, especially now, I don't really try to hype myself, through the roof when it comes to these. I feel that's more so for the showcases. Like State of Plays are just kind of, at least the way I view them, just small updates on games. Some of them do really pop off. Like I remember the one that came out around this time last year, like the late January, I think. That one was probably the best one I had seen up to that point, because yeah, they showed off a lot. And this one, I'll be honest, this one I was I was surprised by, because I'll be honest, that first half, bro, that first half of the State of Play, I'm like, dude, I'm not, because the games that are showing up just didn't really do it for me. If they do it for you, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, just they weren't really doing it for me. And then I think the first thing that really caught my eye was Borderlands 4. And I know a lot of people, based off the reaction to the trailer we got at the Game Awards, a lot of people just kind of see this as more Borderlands. And I don't think they're really too excited about that. I like the Borderlands games, so I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on this one. Probably get it whenever it comes out. I think they announced it for September. I have a list of games that looked cool to me, but I never put down the release date till they had one. But I do think that one was in September, and they're doing another State of Play on that. That's just kind of focusing on Borderlands 4. So I'll definitely be checking that out. They mentioned more about Onimusha 2, which was nice. So the whole Capcom thing was weird because they didn't really go hard in their own showcase, but when it came to PlayStation showcase, they went all out. I think the first thing they started off with was the Monster Hunter. They were announcing that coming out in the end of the month, today actually, as I'm recording this. And I was like, okay, like that's kind of weird. But then they went more into Onimusha 2, and then they went really in depth with the new Onimusha. And I'm like, where was this heat in y'all showcase? Why didn't y'all show that there? But yeah, the new Onimusha looks really cool. The thing I think is a common consensus with this State of Play, if you are a fan of action games, character action games, this was the State of Play for you. And I'll be honest, this was the State of Play for me, because there's a lot of action games that they showed off that really appealed to me. This was one of them. So again, whenever they get to drop in the Onimusha remasters, I'm definitely going to dive into those. Whenever they drop this new Onimusha, I'm definitely going to get into that because this looks really cool. The next thing that caught my eye was Metal Gear Solid Delta. That one looks like really good, honestly. My history with the Metal Gear games is a bit spotty. I played a few every here and there. I played, it's gonna be so funny. So I played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance when I was younger. I think I probably rented it from Blockbuster or something. Back when PlayStation 4 came out, they did like the PlayStation Now thing instead of, I think now it's like the PlayStation, like the different tiers of PlayStation Plus. Before then it was PlayStation Now. And I remember getting that when I first got my PS4 and whenever they first rolled that out. I remember Metal Gear Solid for some reason. Metal Gear Solid 3 was the first game that stood out to me. I remember they released a 3DS version. I don't know why I remember that one so vividly. I remember my dad, he got Ground Zeroes for the Xbox One. I remember playing that because it was a shorter experience. And so that was, I think at this point, that's the only Metal Gear game I have finished. But of course, since I'm jumping into this time, like this series so late, I had no clue what was going on. I just remember the graphics looked phenomenal. The gameplay was really good at the time. Like, I really liked the gameplay of it, but I can't tell you what was going on in the story. Same with Metal Gear Solid 5. I remember picking that up when that released in 2015, so almost 10 years ago. I just remember getting it because it was like getting 10 out of 10s across the board. And I'm like, yeah, let me check out what this game is. And so I got it. I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. But again, it looked good, played good. So yeah, my history with the Metal Gear games isn't too, like, I'm not well versed in that series. I know the lore can get pretty confusing at times. And so I think just because, like, I think their Metal Gear Solid 3 is like the first one in the story. I don't know. I'm not well versed with this universe, but I did get the remastered volume collections for the PS4, PS5 version. I got back during Black Friday. I think it was maybe $20. And so I would like to play through the Metal Gear games at some point. I don't know when, but Metal Gear Solid Delta looks really cool. So to be honest, it comes out in August. Depending on what I got going on in August, I possibly might pick that up and play that. Because usually I was going to think about playing, you know, in release order or something, but because usually when it comes to like video game series, I do like to get an idea of what I'm getting myself into. But at this point in my life, I'm just kind of like, if it appeals to me, I'm just gonna try it. So Metal Gear Solid Delta, whenever that comes out, even if I don't get around to playing the other Metal Gear games, I'm probably still gonna check it out because like the game looks cool. It's like, why not? Why not get like probably the best way to witness a pretty groundbreaking game in the series, I would say. Like, you quote me on, like, don't quote me on that. I don't really know how. I know a lot of people like it, but I don't know how much of a, like, the fans' perspective, how well this is in the Metal Gear community. I don't know, but anyway, getting back into the showcase, what really caught me off guard was a Days Gone remaster. I knew I heard some rumors about it, but I just didn't think it was actually a thing that was going to happen, especially after the way like Days Gone panned out when it released. I don't think Ben Studios really like worried about that series anymore, especially after, I know critically it didn't do well, but I enjoyed it for what it was at the time. I did pick it up back in 2019. I picked it up maybe a couple days after it came out, and it was my senior year of high school. So at that point, I was kind of just done with the school year. And I remember just coming home from school and just playing that pretty much all day. And yeah, I mean, I had fun for what it was. And the fact that it's getting, so the thing with remasters now, I know a lot of gamers are not happy with, especially PS4 games getting remasters over stuff like PS3, PS2 games, which I can definitely understand. But I think now, especially now that I'm getting more into like trophy hunting and stuff and doing it for the channel, it gives me like remasters give me an opportunity to cover the games that I played a while ago, like Horizon, for example. When I look at the games that they're remastering from the PS4, Days Gone is probably the more interesting one. I'm interested in checking out because, again, I'm in the camp of like I think a very small but vocal camp of people who wants a Days Gone sequel. I don't really know how much like the general audience is asking for that, but I had a fun time with Days Gone. I freaking love Sam Witwer, so if he were to come back, that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm really like hoping, you know, if this does well, maybe Ben or whoever kind of sees this and like, oh, the people want this, and like they'll make a sequel. But yeah, that comes out in April, like the end of April. I'm gonna definitely consider checking it out and, you know, covering for the channel. It'd be fun to do that, you know, revisit I won't say a classic, but just revisit a game that came out toward the latter half of the PS4 life cycle. That was probably like within the last 2 years of the well, I just don't say the last 2 years because they're still making PS4 games, but you know what I mean, before the PS5 came out. There are a couple more things that really caught my eye. The big thing, I think, the thing that was probably the most, like, when I look back on it and look at what games really, like, stood out to me, Tides of Annihilation is a game that surprised me. And to be honest, that's on my radar now. Like, whenever they announce a release date, whenever they're dropping new stuff, I'm going to be checking it out. I know the day after the State of Play, they dropped extended gameplay feature, and I watched that, and I'm like, dude, this looks amazing. This is what I really want in a game right now. It's something like that. I mean, just the character models, they look cool. This is so funny. I remember, I think it was a podcast I was listening to. It's like Stellar Blade, but they have clothes on or something like that. And that's kind of like something that was running through my head when I think just because the way, and I really don't want to get in depth with this because this is like a conversation I really do not want to get into, but I just feel like the way, like, the culture war around gaming nowadays, it was like when I first saw this trailer and I saw the main character and what she was wearing, I'm like, oh, she has clothes. And like, I don't mean that in like a weird way. I really don't. But I think when you just look at the way gamers treat something like Stellar Blade and how that, I guess the way that, what's her, I don't know her name, I don't want to say it, but the way that, you know, that game is presented, and then you see something like this, and it's just kind of, I won't say the same vibe as Stellar Blade, but it just has like some similar like look and feel and gameplay elements, I think, to Stellar Blade. I don't know, something about this, like the vibes just seemed really cool. And yeah, just Tides of Annihilation, that's probably the one thing from the State of Play that really surprised me. One of the new things that they showed off, and I'm just really excited to learn more about this game. Another one was Mind's Eye. Like, that surprisingly looked really good. I think, don't quote me on this, but I do believe someone who worked on GTA is working on this. And you can definitely see that in the way the trailer, I think they showed like a gameplay snippet of it played out. Definitely gives GTA vibes. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out, especially if GTA 6 comes out this year. I know they're still, I believe it's coming out this year. I really do. And I know a lot of people, like, I think Take-Two kind of like reaffirmed that it's coming out in 2025. But just, you know, everyone's kind of skeptical. You never know. Rockstar or Rocksteady, or geez, I'm getting this. Rockstar are perfectionists, right? And they're not going to drop a game until it's ready. And so if they drop it in 2025, they drop it in 2025. If they delay it to 2026, they delay it to 2026. No, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised either way. Of course, the thing that ended off with, and probably the thing from the showcase that I'm most excited about, was a new Housemarque game, Saros. I don't know how you say it, but yeah, like once I saw it, I saw Rahul Kohli. Did I say his last name? I'm just gonna say Rahul. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Saw him, I'm like, oh, what's this? And then, you know, it's just a typical CGI trailer, right? But once you get to the end and you see the ring of bullets coming to him in like his eye, I'm like, is this Housemarque? And then boom, Housemarque logo. I'm like, oh yes, dude, they're cooking. Because bro, Returnal really, I still think to this day, Returnal is one of the best PS5 games like out, honestly. And so the fact that Housemarque, they're just gonna build upon that, I'm beyond excited. I am beyond excited to see what they do about that. The other big news that I really want to highlight is really depressing, but it shows the state of our industry, and that's the shutdown of Monolith Studios, Player First Studios, and then I think it's Warner Bros. San Diego. Those 3 studios got shut down, and then the Wonder Woman game that was announced in 2021, that's canceled. And dude, it's just like, I don't know what's going on with the industry. I really don't. And it's just like every week you're seeing something about a studio laying off employees. And it's just like, what can we do? I think Marvel Rivals, that was another one. That was a big one that people were talking about. How NetEase laid off the Seattle group of developers. I think there's more to that story, which I'm not gonna go in depth with that. If you wanna, like, there are plenty of news articles out there about that. But I think you're seeing stuff left and right. I do think that's just the part, like, to come with the video game industry. I think just similar to like the movie industry, it's like you hire people to work on this project, and once that project's done, it's like you don't really need as many people before, because it's not all hands on deck like it was when you're in the thick of making the game. I'm speaking just offhand. I don't know what it's like to be in these fields to begin with. That's just kind of like what I imagine it will be like. But yeah, I mean, it just really sucks. It really sucks seeing people get laid off and stuff, and then just seeing entire studios close down. That is just the real kicker. And so Monolith, they made the Shadow of Mordor game, Shadow of War, plenty of other stuff, of course, before that. I think they made the Fear games, they made Condemned. I watched a video from Game Maker's Toolkit where he just kind of expressed the games that he loved from Monolith. I mean, Monolith, they were like, when you look at the stuff they made, especially after leading up to the Shadow games, they were a pretty good studio. Like, it's sad seeing what's happening to the industry, what's happening to them. Of course, the other thing that comes from this is the whole Nemesis system. The big, probably I think one of the most innovative features to come out of gaming in like the last decade that just has not been used since Shadow of War. And it's just like, they have a patent on it until 2036. Like, bro, what are y'all doing? Like, why are we doing this? So yeah, really sad out there. Really didn't want to end the news section on like sad news, but that was just the other notable thing that stuck out to me as we end February. And so that was that. When it comes to the games I've been playing, I've actually platinumed 3 games this month, I think. See, I'll go I have all written down. Hopefully this is all of them. But the first game I platinumed was Eternal Strands. Eternal Strands. That was the first game I platinumed. I did that. It was last Monday. Wasn't super impressed with it. I'm gonna include that. So originally, I was just gonna have that be its own individual video, but once I finished it, I was just like, I don't know if I want to anymore. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably lump that into one of the indie videos. I'm still working on that. I actually have not played as many indies as I would have liked to have played this month, but hopefully this weekend I can get around to some. But yeah, I'm going to include that in probably my indie video that I plan on dropping sometime soon. I don't really know when, but yeah, I just wasn't the biggest fan of Eternal Strands. Really, the story just was not doing it for me. It just got to a point where I just didn't care about anything. I didn't care about what was going on. I didn't care about most of these characters. Which was just sad, because I really was intrigued in the beginning. I was really intrigued by what's going on. The cast of characters that are here were really interesting. And yeah, it's just like, it just didn't do it for me. But I'm just very stubborn when it comes to games. I've been like this pretty much for a while. It's just some games I always feel like I need to finish them, and that's how I felt with Eternal Strands. I just felt like I needed to finish it, and I needed to get the platinum. Because I'll be honest, there came a point where I was just like, I could really just drop this game right now. I really don't have to like force myself to keep playing it. But my stubborn self, I just did. And so yeah, I finished it at some point, and it was so bad. It got to a point where I was just like, why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? But we turned that around quickly afterwards, and I platinumed my 3 out of 10 game for the challenge. If you didn't watch the first video, if you don't remember, I have a plan. I want a challenge this year where I platinum a game on every difficulty, 1 through 10. And so this month I did my 3 out of 10. The game actually wasn't that long. I really could have finished this in like a couple days, 3 days tops. But again, just kind of balancing all these games. I was playing Eternal Strands, I was playing Bionicle Hero, trying to 100% that, and then I was throwing this into the shuffle, and then I was playing God of War 2, which I'll get to in a second. So I was really just playing a lot of stuff at one time, and some things just got lost in the shuffle, like I just said. Eternal Strands ended up becoming a priority at one point. Bionicle Heroes ended up becoming a priority at one point. And so once I finished Eternal Strands, that kind of lightened the load a little bit. And so I just figured, why not? So really, the thing is, so right now, just the way my life is, I mostly play my games at night. Usually I don't get started till around 8, 9 maybe. But so like really what I do is I try to play like an hour of each game. So like let's say I was playing Eternal or this is actually perfect. So Bionicle Heroes, I was playing for like an hour. So like say that's from 8 to 9, right? I'll play a little bit of the 3 out of 10 game, which wasn't long, so I'll play maybe like 30 minutes or so. And then once I finish that, I'll move on to God of War 2. And so it actually just got to a point where I was almost done with the trophies. I had maybe 9 trophies left or something. And so I just kind of, it was one night I was playing, I'm like, let's just barrel through this. Let's just finish this. And that's what I did. So I platinumed my 3 out of 10 game. And then the other game that I was playing pretty much throughout the entire month was God of War 2. But before I get to God of War 2, I actually want to touch on the one major release this month that I actually played, and that was Avowed. I played Avowed, that came out on Game Pass, and like I finished Eternal Strands like the night before I played Avowed, because I really wanted to finish it before I started the new game, because I didn't want to, again, just keep piling on the games I was playing. And so I was playing Avowed, and to be honest, this is so, I feel like this just shows the way gaming is right now. There's just so many mixed emotions on it. Like, I feel this is the way things are in general when it comes to any kind of media. You have just two extremes. You have the one extreme that's really just hating on this game, praying for its downfall. It's like if you express any opinion on it that doesn't go against or doesn't line up with their beliefs, it's like, no, you're wrong. This so-and-so sucks. And then you have the other extreme that's just praising this game, saying like, oh, I don't understand. Like, just the two extremes. But me, like, I'm just going into this with an open mind, like I watch reviews, I see what people are saying, but it's just like, none of that matters to me. I'm going to go in, open mind, fresh eyes, experience it for myself. But I only played it for like 2 hours. And not because it's not fun. It's not because of that. It's just when I started playing God of War 2, it just got to once I got to a point in God of War 2 where it was really starting to pick up, that honestly just became a priority. And so I just really wanted to focus on that. And so yeah, I just really want to play like 2 hours of Avowed, but those 2 hours I played are fine. Like I don't have any issue with it right now. The one thing is I'm trying to, of course, do all the achievements and stuff. And one of them is playing the game with the hardest difficulty. And so that beginning area, like that first area, I'm struggling, man. I have been struggling on this area for a hot minute. And so I've only played for 2 hours, but the 2 hours I played, I'm enjoying, right? The combat, I think the combat's like the biggest thing people are talking about. The combat's really fun. I'm really engaged with it so far. It looks really good. I'm playing this on a Series S, and it plays good. It's not 60 like I think the Series X might be, but I'm floating by with 30. I'm fine with that. I don't have a big deal. I'm not a frame rate snob or anything like that. So I'm fine playing this at 30 for now. It runs pretty smooth, like I said, so there's no issue there. As far as story, I'm not super far, so I can't really talk about the story right now. Because, I've ran into some interesting characters. One of them's Kai. I think if you know like your gaming stuff, Kai, the voice of Garrus, voices him. That's my dog. I love Mass Effect. I love Garrus. So I watched some videos. I saw he's the weakest party member, but I don't know, man. Hearing Garrus talk to me, I don't know. I gotta rock with my boy. But I think the biggest thing that I did play, finished, and thoroughly enjoyed was God of War 2. So I don't know. I might have mentioned this in the last video. I can't remember, but I never played God of War 2. That's the only God of War in the series, like the only God of War game in the series that I have not touched. I don't know anything about the story. I don't know about, or I do now, but when I started, I didn't know anything about the story. I didn't know anything about like combat, set pieces, what I was going to be doing, nothing. And so started one night, played for like an hour, got through like the beginning of the game, and I'm like, okay, a solid start, really solid. I'm liking this so far. And so from there, so let me go and say, God of War 2, phenomenal game. Ended up loving it when I finished. But after like that opening section, a part of me for like a while just didn't remember what happened. Because I was playing this on and off for a while. And so I just couldn't really remember what happened in that middle section. And to be honest, that's because nothing really happens. There's not really, I'm not gonna get into spoilers because I'm just saying in case you haven't played it, but in terms of story, there's not really much going on here. Like the main meat of the story happens in that first hour, and honestly, like the last 2 or so hours of the game. The middle is just kind of like you're doing stuff, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I enjoy doing the stuff. But when I look at it, I'm just like, nothing really happened there. And so, like, once I finished, I just had like, just again, God of War 2 had an amazing time. And something I did differently, I played the game on hard. And for God of War 2, there's no difficulty trophy. There's none of that. Unlike, I don't know, I don't remember if God of War 1 had a difficulty trophy. I played that one like a long time ago. But and no, it didn't. The first two did not have a difficulty trophy, and I don't know if the third one does either. But the first two don't have a difficulty trophy. But I played the first one on easy, so I'm just like, I'm gonna just kind of challenge myself and play the second one on hard. And this is one of those rare cases where playing the game on hard really enhanced my experience because there were a few boss fights that really they were kicking my ass, right? But once I changed up my gameplay like plan and just went in a little differently, I just like did. It was so satisfying being able to take these guys down after like really learning how to use my abilities and everything together in unison. And it's just like I can understand if people were to like say God of War 2 is their favorite in the whole series or they were favorite in the Greek series of games. I can understand why, because I had an amazing time with God of War 2. I really did. Especially those last like 2 or 3 hours I was playing. I was like, dude, this is like some of the best gaming I've had in a minute. It was so fun. And so yeah, that's and God of War 2 just like it was great. It was better than I was expecting going in. I wasn't again, I never played it, so I wasn't expecting much. But as a I guess I don't know if swan song is the right word because I do think they are still making PS2 games for a long time. But I guess as one of the late PS2 games, this was like a pretty good way of capping off that era of gaming. Even though I played like the PS3 remastered version, like that was just a fantastic showcase of what I would presume the PS2 was capable of at the time. Yo, welcome. It is currently 8:42 p.m. I ran out of time on my lunch. I was yapping so much, so I just had to stop, and now we're back resuming this. I think the last thing I left off with was God of War 2. And yes, I do have a video of mine playing in the background, just liven up the atmosphere, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I was on God of War 2, and dude, I had an amazing time with it. Again, just enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like, it was actually the point, and I have not done this in like a long time. But once I finished, I was like the next day at work when I was working on stuff, I was really looking up like retrospectives on the game, just because this is the one I'm just not well versed in the whole series, and so I just really want to learn more about it. And I mean, yeah, dude, I had like it's just it's just been so long because I've been so into a game that I'm looking up stuff on YouTube about it. And so just getting into the channel, of course, the major thing I released this month was my platinum check-in video. And let me tell y'all, I did not expect that video to blow up the way that it did. Right now, it's tracking to be my most popular video at this moment. Right now, it's that first Saints Row retrospective, which again, at the time, I wasn't expecting to blow up. And I don't know, it's just, I was like, it's like I'm covering, like, the best way I could describe it is I'm getting the platinum for games that I played a long time ago, right? So majority of the trophy list is done. And it's just not like a typical platinum video, right? I'm just like, I'm jumping into these games as I'm pretty much almost done. Like the story has already been covered for most of these games. The only ones I really went in depth with was Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human. And it's just like, I don't know, I just wasn't really expecting it to blow up, to be honest. I got like 10K views in a day, and I was like, bruh, I've never had this happen. It was so bizarre. I got like a ton of subs, so if you're one of them watching this, just thank you. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, dude, just a banger way to start off February. And then of course I dropped the other, like the first check-in video, which did reasonably well. You know, I'm not expecting these to really blow up. I feel this is just more like, you know, checking with you guys, you know, seeing how I'm doing, see how you're doing, just things like that. Getting a read on how the channel's going, what I'm playing, just all that jazz. And so another thing I'm also trying not to do is relying on deadlines, because I notice when I rely on deadlines, I stress I stress myself out like really bad. I'm really bad with deadlines, especially when it comes to the channel now, just because again, life is hectic. So I'm not always going to be able to just meet this, at least this deadline I make in my head, right? And so I remember for this, or the platinum check-in video. So for a while, I was like, I need to get a video. I need to get videos on Sundays, because for a few videos, I noticed I got more views when I dropped them on Sundays. But I think this video made me realize that doesn't really matter. YouTube's just it's a weird game, right? You can drop a video on a Sunday, it blows up. You can drop another video that next Sunday, it doesn't. You can drop a video on a Tuesday, like I did for the platinum check-in video, that blows up. And so yeah, I don't think I'm just not gonna worry about deadlines. Like right now, I have one for God of War, the God of War video I want to do, which is pretty much just me platinuming the whole series. And ideally, ideally, I wanted to drop it on March 22nd, which is the actual 20th anniversary for the first God of War. But considering I've only platinumed 2 God of War games at this point, and I still have, I think, like 4 or 5 left to platinum, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting this out in time. Speaking of that, though, got this in the mail today, God of War 3 Remastered. I actually have played God of War 3 on the PS3, but I have 23 out of the 30, I think 36 trophies unlocked. And I didn't think it would be fun, especially after I just kind of, like my first God of War was essentially just a cleanup. And so I didn't want to do the same thing for God of War 3, especially now that I've played God of War 2. I kind of want to just go in as like a new experience, I suppose. And yeah, I actually played the PS4 version. It was a while ago. I was in, I think, freshman year of high school or something, and I got it from a red box back when that was a thing. RIP, bro. But yeah, I got it from a red box, played for a little bit, but I don't have any trophies on it. So pretty much we're starting from scratch on this. I do at some point want to like go back and clean up God of War 3 on the PS3, but I figured right now it would be more fun to just do this one from scratch. And so what am I working on? Well, I guess I can talk about Saints Row the Third, because that's my latest video. I dropped that literally today at like 10 something in the morning. And so I've just been sitting on that one for a long time. Pretty much the timeline for that. I don't know how it just ended up taking so long, but, well, actually, I can't tell you why, because I wanted to just get to a point where I dropped all my Saints Row videos at one time. But at this point, I'm just like, I'm not going to worry about that. And so I started playing Saints Row the Third, the PS3 version, in July. I think I started it on the 4th of July. And so I pretty much played that all the way up until like mid-August or something. And then, you know, I kind of was writing the script here and there. I edited it. I got it to like a state I was somewhat happy with around like December. And then I didn't really start editing it until like this month. And so that was that. But luckily, I mean, I got it edited, and I mean, yeah, it turned out pretty good. I was happy. I mean, I was up until, I posted this morning, so I was up until like 1:30 last night. Not because I wasn't trying to meet like some made up deadline or whatever. I did want to get it out today, and yesterday afternoon, it was in a state where I'm just like, I just gotta watch it one more time, add in like the trophy like count and stuff, and yeah, I'd be done. But I wanted to, something I did differently this time was added in trophy cards. And so if you've seen like other like Valzu or John Callum, other like platinum videos like that, they every now and then drop in like a trophy card to explain what the trophy is that they're going for. And I really like the idea. I really want to, because I just really want to try and find some way to implement that into my videos and in my script as well, just so I can, you know, further elaborate some trophies. Because I don't, yeah, just way to further elaborate, I guess. And so originally what I was going to do, and what I did this for my platinum video, but I only did it for like one of them, I did it in Canva. So I made like a little template in Canva, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do it in this. But I got to a point, yes, it was like yesterday afternoon, where I'm just like, I want to find a way where I can just do this all in DaVinci Resolve, the software that I use to edit my videos. Because I was like, I don't want to have to, like, create all these in Canva, export them, import them into DaVinci, and then do all that. I'm like, I want to find a way to actually just do all of this in DaVinci Resolve. And I found out I can do it through something called macros. If you're familiar with DaVinci, you probably know what that is, but if you're not, I'm not going to go like too in the weeds and like into like the tech jargon on how that works. But essentially it's just like a preset, so that way I can just like plop it into the timeline, edit the elements that I need to, and then bam, I'm good to go. And so that took me that took me about 3 hours to nail down. And so yeah, that's why I spent 3 hours doing that, and then just trying to streamline some other processes. And so yeah, it just got to, I wanted to watch it one more time, see if anything I need to fix. And so yeah, I didn't really go to bed till like 1:30. And even still this morning I was spending another like 2 hours working on just like finishing touches, making the thumbnail, stuff like that. And so yeah, that was just the other big video I was working on throughout February. Going into March, let's see, the Saints Row 4 retrospective ideally is something I'd want to get out early March. And then after that, I need to find something, because I don't really have, again, like right now, I'm not really playing too many individual games for their own video. It's all in like a series at the moment. And so there are definitely games I could get to. There's definitely like Destroy Humans, Path of the Furon I can get to. Black Myth Wukong, which I have not touched in almost 2 months at this point. There's Wolfenstein 2, something. I just need to figure out something. But right now, honestly, right now, I'm kind of locked into God of War, and so I just really want to like crank that out so I can get that video out soon. But yeah, right now the only thing on the radar that I plan on like finishing up is that Saints Row 4 retrospective, because I have been sitting on that for almost 2 years now. And it's about time I get that video out. I know a lot of people out there are waiting for it, so that's next on the agenda. In terms of future videos, I did restructure my Platinum Challenge video, just some of the games I was going to play, just adding a lot of variety, because I was looking at the list every now and then. I just kind of look to see if like I'm satisfied with the games I'm playing, and just a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of the same stuff, but some of them could be like the same art style, same gameplay or something. And so I spent like a day or two just kind of going through and just finding some other games that really fit. First of all, just my playstyle, stuff I'm interested in, just adding some variety. And so for the 4 out of 10 game, I changed that one. I'll let y'all like a little sneak peek. It's a fighting game, so I'm really excited. I'm stepping in my comfort zone with that one. So looking forward to playing that. Hopefully platinuming that. And so yeah, that's really it when it comes to channel, like progress on the channel. And I mean, yeah, now we can get into just extracurriculars, life. What have I been doing? We can start with movies. First movie I saw was Companion. I mentioned that in the last video, and like the day after I went to go see it. Really good movie. Enjoyed that a lot. Had my boy Jack Quaid, and yeah, I had a fun time. A really fun time. Not that many people in my theater though, which was kind of like, I don't know. It's not, I guess, not that kind of movie. Plus, I saw it in IMAX as well, so I don't know how many people are like flexing on seeing something in IMAX. But yeah, had a fun time with that. That's actually the only time this month. Let me see. No, it's not actually. But this is I only went to the movies a couple of times. That was one of them. So I saw The Companion, really good movie. I just kind of wish the trailer didn't spoil too much. If you're interested in watching Companion, I highly recommend just like going as blind as you can, because the trailer didn't ruin it for me, but it definitely just, the impact of what one of the twists in the movie would have been more grand if I didn't know about it going in. But yeah, Jack Quaid delivers a stellar performance. Sophie Thatcher, amazing performance as well. The whole scenario of the movie was just great. And so I enjoyed my time with Companion. Let's see, just randomly, I watched Revenge of the Sith one Sunday afternoon. It was on TV, and just, whenever Star Wars is on TV, I'm tuning in pretty much every time. But and I don't want to be like that person, but it's really only if the prequels and the originals are on. I'm not a sequel hater by any means, but I'm not like, you know, if it's on, it's like it's if there's nothing really else to do, I'll put them on. But it's not really like the thing I would flock to if I saw it on TV. And so, yeah, Revenge of the Sith. I watched that one day on a Sunday. You know, just feeling just like really enjoying myself. I'm gonna go ahead and jump ahead. Super excited that they're re-releasing it in theaters. I was praying that they would do this, and I'm just glad they dropped like a poster and it's dropping in on April 25th. I will be seeing it in theaters. I probably will be seeing it multiple times in theaters. At this point, I believe A New Hope and Attack of the Clones are the only movies I have not seen in the theater. I've seen Empire Strikes Back. They dropped, well, actually, let me go back to like the first one I saw in theaters, which was The Phantom Menace. I saw The Phantom, I wasn't born when it originally came out. Let me go and just preface that. I wasn't born. But when 3D was blowing up in like the early 2010s, they were re-releasing the Star Wars movies, or they planned on re-releasing the Star Wars movies. And the first one they did was The Phantom Menace. That was like the first one I vividly remember seeing in theaters. And then of course, you know, the sequels booming. So saw Force Awakens, saw my dad opening night in IMAX. That's probably one of the best movie experiences I've ever had in my life. The following year, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, Solo, The Last Jedi. Pretty much all of those movies I've seen, except for Solo, I've seen at least twice. Force Awakens I saw 3 times in the movies. Rogue One now I've seen 3 times. I saw it twice when it originally came out, and then they re-released it a couple years ago when Andor was coming out. So I was able to see that a third time. The Last Jedi I saw twice in theaters. Solo only saw once. Rise of Skywalker I saw twice. And then we fast forward to the COVID era. They re-released The Empire Strikes Back in theaters. That was actually a really fun time. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie, and so getting to see that on the big screen, really like a dream come true, if I'm being honest. And so it was great seeing that. And then Return of the Jedi for the 40th anniversary. Got to see that one with my dad as well. And then last year they dropped The Phantom Menace again for the 25th anniversary. I really come around on The Phantom Menace. That's a story for a different video. But yeah, I was really excited to see that. And now I'm just beyond excited to see Revenge of the Sith in the theaters as well. That's another, like, that's my number 3. Just if you're curious, Empire is number 1, Rogue One is number 2, and Revenge of the Sith is number 3. And so getting to see this in the theaters is really, really special. I actually did see this. I was like 4 at the time. I saw it with my dad, but again, I was 4, so I have like no memory of it. The only thing I remember is like the Mustafar battle, but when my dad got it on DVD, I was killing it, dude. I was watching that pretty much every day. And so, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is a special movie for me, and so I'm looking forward to that. Jumping ahead, I guess, going back to the channel part of it, I do want to do some Revenge of the Sith content in May. Of course, I'm probably going to do another May 4th video. I'm still like working out the 4 games I want to play, because at this point I've platinumed most of the Star Wars games, and so this is just going to be a weird one to kind of figure out. I really do wish I had held off on covering some of the like Star Wars games I did back in August. The Clone Wars I think would have been a perfect one to include in these videos. Bounty Hunter as well. I just kind of wish just looking back, I wish I hadn't really covered them at the time, but we're gonna figure something out. But yes, I do want to do some Revenge of the Sith content. I do want to do some kind of achievement thing. I know it's not on PlayStation or Xbox with achievements, but we'll find. There's a way. There's a way. And then I am thinking about not necessarily redoing, but I guess re-releasing my Revenge of the Sith retrospective with like improved audio and stuff. Because the thing, I feel like I've improved a lot. Like I watch those early videos every now and then. I feel like I've improved a lot when it comes to just delivering delivering audio, I guess, editing stuff. So I really would like to give that another go. But the twist this time, so it's not just a re-release, is I probably cover the DS and Game Boy versions of Revenge of the Sith, because I do have fond memories of those as well. So it'd be fun revisiting that. And so yeah, I do want to do some Revenge of the Sith content in May, but that's in another couple months. So we'll see how that pans out. But yes, really excited for Revenge of the Sith. should drop in August. A couple other movies. I'm still going with the Harry Potter series. Finished Chamber of Secrets. That's the second one. Not my favorite. Like rewatching, I'm like, this one's just okay. It took me a while actually to get through it. I started like one day when I was at work, and then I watched it again one night. It was actually the night PSN went down, but I didn't finish because I was tired. And then I think I finished it up like that Sunday. So yeah, finished Chamber of Secrets, and then recently, I think it was today's Friday. I believe it was Wednesday. Wednesday I started Prisoner of Azkaban, and that one, at least on Peacock, that's how I was watching it. It was the shortest one so far. It was only like 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I started it one morning. I got an hour in, and I looked at the time. I'm like, let's finish this. And so yeah, that's the only one so far I've cranked down in one day. A lot better than I remember. I looked at what I gave it on Letterboxd. I gave it 3.5 stars the first time I watched it. I'm like, that's too low. I cranked that bad boy up to 4.5 stars, man. That's probably the best one I've watched to this point. It was more engaging. I think since I knew about I guess it's a spoiler if you've never seen it. I don't know how you're like, well, I shouldn't say that because I didn't watch Harry Potter until like a few years ago. But just I guess a quick spoiler, but I knew about the time travel stuff this time around, so I was able to pick up on like when they hinted at it a little more. And yeah, just I had a really, really good time with Harry Potter, the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now I just need to watch Goblet of Fire, and I can get started on the Lego Harry Potter game. That's the next Lego game I'm going to tackle. And yeah, dude, we're just moving along with this Lego series. I'm trying to crank this out. The other major movie I saw in theaters this month was Captain America: Brave New World. And I gotta say, I enjoyed my time here. I saw the reviews going in, like saying this movie was not that good. I watched it, and I'm like, are we watching the same movie? Because I had a good time here. I don't know, man. Just, it was good. It was fun. I had fun. And I mean, just seeing Sam finally become Captain. I know he was like becoming Captain America, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but just seeing him do all that stuff in the movie was just like, yes, yes. And again, this might be a spoiler. It's not really like a big thing, but if you want to just skip ahead, you can. But this is pretty much a sequel to The Incredible Hulk in many ways. I won't get into those ways, but this is pretty much a sequel to that movie. And as one of the few people who love Incredible Hulk, I couldn't have asked for anything else. Now, granted, it would have been nice to at least see the Hulk in this one, or just in some way, because it features a lot of characters from that movie. You don't see the Hulk, you don't see Bruce Banner at all. That's probably like my one complaint, but honestly, I had a fun time with it. I give it 4 stars. A Letterboxd, I'm like, I had a fun time. I'd watch it again if I had to, but I mean, yeah, dude, I had a fun time. And I mean, I think that's all in terms of movies that I watched. I guess a trailer I can shout out was Fantastic Four. That trailer looks dope. I'm really excited for that movie. Fantastic Four, that's probably, I don't want to go as far as say it's my favorite group because I'm not super well versed in the Fantastic Four. Like, I don't think I've read Fantastic Four comic, but I grew up on the like 2000s movies with Chris Evans, Jessica Alba, and all of them. And the one that came out in 2015, I don't like that one so much. I don't think anyone does, but yeah, this looks promising. I'm really hoping this does well. I know a lot of people are riding on this because MCU for some people is in a weird state, but yeah, I have a feeling this is going to do well. In terms of TV, I actually have gotten a little more TV action this month. This is going to be a weird one, but I mentioned that like I watch a show during my lunch break. I watch like a 30-minute show from my childhood, and originally I was watching Sweet Life on Deck, and so I finished season 1. I think it was pretty like that first week of February, and I could have kept going, but I kind of wanted to change it up at some point. Not that I wasn't bombing with it. I'm going to continue watching, but I was like, I want to switch it up. So one night I was just kind of browsing through Amazon Prime, looking what's on there, trying to find something to get something to watch, and I stumbled upon a show that I watched when I was younger. I don't know how many of you are gonna know what I'm talking about, because my my demographic is mostly male who subscribe to me, and this was more of a woman, a female show, but H2O Just Add Water. I came across that one night, and I was like, maybe we watch this. Let's see what's going on. And I'll admit, I became invested. I'm like halfway through season one, a little more. I mean, yeah, dude, I'm just vibing. I'm vibing with it. It's not. I remember it coming on either Nickelodeon or Teen Nick, one of the two. I know it's this like owned by the same people, but it's an Australian show, and so I don't really know how that worked out for it to like come on Nick over here. But yeah, I just remember watching it when I was a kid, and watching it now. It's just like it's more serious than like other kids shows, programming, but it doesn't take itself too seriously, if that makes sense. Pretty much the premise of the show is three teenage girls, they get mermaid powers, and they just, if they get wet, they turn into a mermaid. So like the whole thing is like they're trying not to get wet in any way. And that's like the premise is kind of what surrounds the show, but it's really just a lot of like teenage girl issues and then weird issues in general. Like today I'm watching an episode where like they're trying to take a pelican back to a thing, or I don't know. It's a very weird premise, but I can say out of the episodes I've watched so far, there's only been like one that was painful to watch, and it was one I watched actually like a couple days ago. And yeah, that was like, yeah, this is probably the worst episode in this season so far. But everything else, I've been enjoying it so far, and I'm definitely going to keep going. There's like 3 seasons. I don't think I'm gonna watch all of them because I do think they've switched up the cast in like the last season maybe. But yeah, I'm just gonna right now alternate. So once I finish this, I'll get back to Sweet Life on Deck, and then just kind of keep jumping back and forth. So that's my lunch show. And then the other show that I watched that I really wanted to finish was Outer Banks. I love Outer Banks ever since it started back in 2020 during the COVID days. That was my comfort show. I watched season 1 twice, and so Outer Banks has always been the show. I consider it my guilty pleasure because only like a few people I know really like Outer Banks. And so season 4, the season 4, the way they dropped it is actually something I do not like with streaming nowadays, is how they split the seasons. I know that was how TV was back in the day, but we're not back in the day. I am fine with weekly releases. I can vibe with that. But splitting the season up, I don't vibe with that. They did that with Cobra Kai. The last season of Cobra Kai recently, they split it into 3 parts, my guy. I'm like, no, I'm waiting till they all come out to watch it. And that's why I do it Outer Banks. Luckily the gap was only like a month, and so they split the season in 2. But still, I'm just like they split it in October. Like part of one season came out in October, the rest came out in November. I'm like, I'm gonna wait till November when all of it's out. And I watched like maybe a couple episodes at the time. And so yeah, this month I'm like, I'm gonna just dedicate time to finishing this. So I'd watch an episode, pretty much work was mostly where I watched them. I'd watch an episode pretty much just whenever I had time in the morning, when I had a lot to do. And I mean, that's what I did, just got to a point where I had 2 left, finished them all on a Saturday night. I'm not gonna lie, that ending had me tearing up, bro. But yeah, like that's the other show I finished. And looking forward to season 5. I know there was some drama this season, but yeah, just I had a fun time. Actually, the thing is, and I won't go too like in depth because I don't know how many people watch Outer Banks, but the way season 3 ended, so honestly, they could have ended the show with season 3. I'm like, this was like a perfect ending to everyone's character arcs. But you know, they teased another season. And the way they left it off, I just wasn't too thrilled about it. And honestly, the first couple episodes of this new season, again, I like the way it was going, but I'm like, I'm not really vibing with this. But things picked up. It got back to the Outer Banks that we know. And yeah, enjoyed it a lot more than I was going in. And so yeah, that's the other TV show I finished this month. I started Daredevil season 3 because the new one's coming out on the 4th, and pretty much I've watched, so when it comes to the Defender saga, I've watched up until Defenders. I just said it. I watched all the shows up until Defenders, and then after that I kind of fell off. The only thing I probably watched after that was the first season of Punisher and a little bit of the second season of Jessica Jones. But other than that, I kind of just stopped after the Defender show. And so as a result, I never got around to watching Daredevil season 3. I've started it multiple times, and I've probably gotten like 3 or 4 episodes in the past. But now I'm really gonna finish it so I can enjoy this new show, this new season that they're dropping on Disney Plus. Because Daredevil, out of all those Defender shows, Daredevil is easily my favorite. Obviously, it's everyone's favorite as well since he's getting the show. And so, yeah, that's the other thing I started. Gonna just dedicate time to that so I can get around to watching this new season of Daredevil. And so, to wrap things up, let's just talk about me. Let's talk about how I've been, what I have been doing. I'm doing fine, still doing good. Everything's good, everything's cool in the neighborhood. Yeah, there's nothing really crazy happening this month. Another chill month, I would say. First week was really good. I remember that Sunday after I posted that video, I always get this. I always have like a feeling of doubt every now and then, like, oh, am I really meant to be doing this or whatever? But it's like I'm having fun making these videos. I know y'all are enjoying them, so yeah, I just always have to reassure myself that I'm like, everything's good. Everything's going good with the channel. No need to worry about anything. But yeah, I'm trying to just consume, at least when it comes to YouTube, just more things other than gaming content. Because, I would say like probably most of the stuff I watch on YouTube is gaming related. And so I'm just trying to add some variety to it just so I'm not over consuming it, I guess. And so I've really been messing around with this other thing, like just random stuff that comes up on my feed. I've been seeing a lot of food videos. I watched this one thing about like what it's like to run a cafeteria in a hospital. I don't know why, I just thought that was interesting. I watched something like people eating Dollar Tree food, like just eating that for a few days straight. I don't know what it is. I've really been interested in those videos. I've been seeing them on like TikTok and recently YouTube as well. I eat those up every time. I think what else have I been watching? Just a bunch of random stuff. Usually like animation stuff, or is what I've really. That's always like a thing I look into when I'm really getting into it, because animation is a thing I've always been interested in doing, but it's never got super serious about. Like I'm always getting on Blender to like mess around, but I've never been again just super serious about it. I would like to at some point. It's just I don't know, something about my brain, the way I'm wired. Just it's hard to. It's just hard to do it. But I really need to put my mind to it because I really do want to get into Blender at some point. And so yeah, I've just been really watching a lot of animation videos here and there. Actually, there was a short film or a fan film I watched yesterday. It was a Star Wars one. It's a clone. It's called the 212. And bro, I gotta say that's probably like the best Star Wars fan film I've watched in a long time. I'm always looking at Star Wars fan films, especially like 3D fan films. The one that really impressed me recently was Hello There Animation. He redid the Battle of Mustafar in the Clone Wars animation style. Now I've been following that for years now. I remember seeing it first on TikTok. The dude was like, I'm gonna do this. And the fact that he just now released it shows, one, just how long this stuff takes, but also just how dedicated a person can be. And so, yeah, I know I'm getting off topic there, but yeah, the 212 animation I watched, like phenomenal. Just a phenomenal job that team did. Highly recommend it if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Clone Wars fan especially. It was amazing to watch. But yeah, just really getting into animation content. I really need to do a better job of this going into March. I'm always saying I'm gonna get on Blender or something. I think about it, I just never do it. So I just need to work on like finding time to do that. And yeah, other than that, I'm training for a 5K. My sister, she's doing one in April, wants us to do it. And I'm just like, why not? I haven't actually done one. But I took a jogging class my junior year of college that I actually really liked. When I went in, I was like, I don't know if I can do, because it ended up getting, like, I think they laid out the rubric of what to expect from us. And so I remember like that first week, it was walk 5 minutes, jog for I think maybe 10 minutes, and then walk for another 5. I couldn't even jog the 10 minutes, dude. I was struggling. But by the time I finished that class, I was able to jog for like a steady 45 minutes, no issue. And so, yeah, I'm just like, I've actually never done one of these before, so like, why not? So I've been training here and there, doing, things on the treadmill every now and then. I really like to do some outside because the weather is getting really nice now. And so if I can just find some place to train outside, that would be great. And yeah, that's life really. Looking forward to March. Looking forward to see what March has to bring. In terms of gaming, not a lot of things I'm looking forward to. Not in like a bad way, but like the only major release that I'm looking forward to in March will be Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know that game has been getting a lot of hate because of reasons I really don't want to get into right now, but I'm Assassin's Creed, I haven't really been super psyched about since Odyssey. That's the last one I would say I really got into. And I think only like 2 have released since then. Valhalla and Mirage. And yeah, Shadows was come out last year, but it didn't. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to Shadows. Looks the setting looks nice, it looks cool, characters look cool. I think it'll be cool, kind of like switching up the playstyle depending on who you want to be. Funny thing, I actually had it pre-ordered, but I forgot. I went to GameStop. Um, I went to GameStop. It was the beginning of February actually, because Dragon Age Veilguard was on sale for like $25. Which, bro, don't even get me started on that. They just announced that they're dropping it for free on PlayStation Plus. I'm like, bruh. But anyway, I bought Dragon Age the Veilguard, and as I was checking out, the dude was like, you got Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-ordered? I'm like, on what console? Because I use my dad's GameStop account. He was like, PS5. I'm like, oh, I completely forgot that I pre-ordered that. So yeah, that's a game I'll be looking forward to picking up in March 20th. And I mean, yeah, that's really the only thing I'm looking forward to. I think Split Fiction comes out this month, but I haven't really been into the Joseph Fair co-op games, really because I don't have anyone to play them with. And so I think the other big release this month. Right now, nothing's really coming to mind. I watched a Game Rigs video talking about the May or the March releases. And I'm like, yeah, there's not really like a lot coming out this month that I'm keeping an eye on, I would say. Really right now, Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm trying to think, in terms of movies, pretty sure there's some out there. They're just not coming to my head right now that I'd go see. I know the Oscars come on in a couple days. I'll be checking that out. But I mean, yeah, not really else I can really think of coming in March, which is just that provides the perfect opportunity to catch up on some games. Catch up on God of War, try and knock this series out if I can in the next month. Work on some Lego games, just work on some games here and there. And I mean, yeah, dude, that's been February. Looking forward to March. And yeah, that's really it. That's all I got for you guys. As always, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, tell me how you're doing. Love to hear about that. And yeah, that's the video, guys. Thanks for sticking around. See you next month.